We're standing at the edge of about a 3,000 foot cliff. A little over halfway down here, there's a UTV that rolled off the edge, and unfortunately there was a fatality. The young man driving it came around the bend here and unfortunately went off the turn here and rolled every bit of 1,500 to maybe even 2,000 feet down the mountain.
Yeah, it was like 6 or 7 of us, and I decided to go slow because visibility was low, and then we realized that he was gone.
Carlos was the driver?
Yeah, Carlos was the driver.
And he's the one that passed?
Yeah.
Husband, wife, does he have kids?
Yeah, 4 kids. I have 4 kids and his wife.
So we parked up on the corner by Parish Loop, and this, I believe, is where the razor must have gone off. We have our first sign of the carnage right here on the left, which is a long ways down and very steep. We're loaded down. We've got our slings, we got shackles, we got soft shackles, we have a bag for miscellaneous carnage, and then we have our radio for when Dave flies in with the Huey. He can drop the rigging down to us. We'll have it all ready, prepped. We'll hook it on. He'll fly it up to the trailer. And then Alan and I will start our ascent back to the top.
Yep. Alrighty. I don't know exactly what we'll deal with that piece. We have to leave it.
My friends, I'd like to introduce you to a good friend of mine, Mr. Marcus Burr. They run a company called Mountain West Helicopters, and they're in Provo, Utah. And you guys specialize in heavy lift, right?
Yeah, up to 6,000 pounds.
With the K-Max.
With the K-Max, yeah.
So you guys remember the video with Whistling Diesel, right? Where we took Whistling Diesel's Hilux Toyota up with the K-Max up to like 10,000 feet and dropped it? Well, that was one of his helicopters with one of his guys. Shockingly, they're available today. I literally called Marcus this morning. I was like, hey man, we got this recovery. It's a pretty sensitive one. You know, there's a fatality. It's way up on the mountain. It's gonna take like 2,000 or 3,000 feet of winch line for us to be able to get to, and it's just not very safe. Do you have anything that can work? And he said, I'll be there in the Huey. So we're about to load up in this bad boy right here and head straight up to the mountain behind our house. Oddly enough, it's literally right in our backyard. And we're gonna go get that machine off the mountain and bring some closure to the family. So. Talked about coming up to help the family with one of our wreckers and basically just drag it up the hillside, which we could definitely do, although a 2,000 foot pole is a really long pole, and anytime you have people moving up and down the mountain, moving that much cable and heavy rigging equipment, you just add more and more layers of risk that we always try to avoid if possible. And we're gonna lift this UTV out and get it safely placed on the trailer and get it off the mountain to bring some closure to the family today. So while this is gonna be a very fascinating, interesting recovery to watch, because you guys have seen we haven't done that many videos using helicopters for recoveries. We've done a handful here and there, but most of them have been for plane crashes and different things like that. Well, we haven't done one for a UTV with a helicopter, I think, ever. So this is gonna be a first, and it's gonna be, you know, really cool to be able to do this for the family. So here we go.
We're just gonna use these slings. We're gonna choke the front and the back up so we have a good place to be able to lift from. I'm gonna try to make my choke as far to the top of the side-by-side as possible. And then we're just gonna basically just lift it straight up the way it is. So we've got here, I'm going around the body. I'm not really trusting any of the A-arms or anything, so I'm just going right around the engine compartment, and it'll be like the strongest place to hold from here. Diesel's working on the front, trying to figure a way to hook the front up. I'll help him on that after I get this one all set up.
We got the rigging all set up. We're running about a 100-foot long line off the bottom of the Huey here. This is a very powerful helicopter that has been heavily upgraded. About an 1800 horsepower engine. It's got the composite rotor blades. It's got the modified tail boom. It's basically all the stuff you would want to do to a Huey to make it just absolute brute strength, which we need because right now we're sitting at about just shy of 8,000 feet elevation, and it's a pretty hot day. So the hotter and higher it is, the more power you lose. So we're going to be using pretty much every ounce of power this thing's got, especially since this is a 4-seat machine, which weighs probably in the realm of 2,200 pounds. So we're right at the maximum limit of what we can lift up here today with this Huey. So Diesel Dave is down there getting it rigged up. I'm in the helicopter today. I'm going to be calling out the distance, all the clearances, the location, everything for the pilot so he can focus solely on handling the lift. So I'll be flying right seat. Pilot Brock will be in left seat. The victim of the accident, I believe his name was Carlos. I was just talking with his friends and family here who showed up. They were the ones that were with him on the night of the accident, and it's a sad day. It's a really sad deal. 37-year-old dude, 4 kids. It's just one of those sad accidents. It was night, it was dusty. He wasn't very familiar with the terrain. Came around this turn, and obviously if it's dusty and dark and your lights are fogging out all the dust, you can't see that turn. So they searched actually way over here on the other side of the mountain for him for quite a while, looking for him. Didn't find him until they came over here to the edge and saw some tire tracks going off the edge. And right at that time, they were kind of hanging over the edge, shining their lights down there. They heard somebody yelling help, and that was the other person who was in the UTV. The second victim did not pass away in the accident. They got, from what we understand, paralyzed. They're in the hospital right now. The helicopter showed up and picked up the victims, and then they said that most likely Carlos passed away on the way to the hospital. So plan is we're gonna head down, hook up to Dave's rigging, lift the Razor right up to this exact same spot where Hans is gonna have the trailer staged, and we'll kind of just hover here, get the UTV set down on the trailer, and we'll be off.
We are ready to hook it.
Bumping RPMs up a little here. What does my weight gauge say? Right in front of my right knee. Right knee, weight gauge is saying 28. Wow. Time to hook the cargo bag. Okay. Hey, Dave, we're too heavy. Take as much off as you can, including the cargo bag. 10-4. Dave, like I said, just trim as much weight as you can right now.
They have cargo bags with extra stuff plus the UTV, and man, we were like 2,700 pulling and it wasn't coming, so
I'll get them to.
they're gonna undo the bags.
I'm gonna go jump out to lighten it up a little bit as well.
All right, so the status is that's a really heavy machine. Those 4-seater UTVs weigh, 2,500 pounds from the factory. That's dry. You start adding a cage, you start adding, different wheels and tires, all the accessories. It weighed 2,900 pounds is what the hook said just now, and that's just too much weight right now for how much fuel we have on board. That Huey is an incredibly powerful helicopter, but it still has limitations just like anything. So we got it picked up just barely, and at that point when it was all the weight was on the hook, it said 2,900 pounds, and really we need to be closer to like 2,400 pounds is the ideal number at this altitude and everything. So basically the plan is I jumped out because that's going to give us 240 more pounds of lifting capability. Diesel Dave's down there putting the machine on a diet, continuing to take as much stuff off.
Altitude and with the weight of the Razor, the helicopter is struggling to be able to lift the whole load up to be able to take it to the top. So instead of combining everything into one load, we're breaking up into pieces. We put as much weight as we could into that green bag. The tire, the springs, the seats, probably had about 300 pounds in there. So Dave is out, and now the pilot is coming back. Just him and the helicopter. They burned off some fuel, and hopefully we are just right at the limit to be able to lift this Razor and take it to the top.
Fantastic. We got her loaded up. Brock is one hell of a pilot. What you just witnessed is so much more difficult than you could ever imagine, because what looks like small movements down here, he's doing this up in the cockpit, trying to keep that thing under control. So we're all good to go. Marcus and I are going to jump in the Huey, head back to the hangar, and this job is done.
Thank you, boys. You guys are awesome. See you, buddy. Thanks. Airflow.
All right, guys, we did it. We got Carlos's Razor back down off the mountain. Sounds like Carlos was an exceptional human being, a really cool guy. I wish I would have been able to know him. Sounds like he was doing a lot of good things in the world. Hope he's riding his Razor through the heavens right now. wish I could have known him. My heart goes out to him, his whole family, everyone involved. It was a terrible accident. Hopefully, Miguel, if you're watching this, we know you're in the hospital right now. You're the passenger. Hope you get better. Hope you get back on your feet. Don't let the doctors tell you that you're going to be paralyzed. You can do it. Sorry you had to go through the accident, but you got this, brother. Lifted that razor up into the sky, dropped it onto the trailer, and we hauled it back down here to Young Power Sports. This is where they're going to figure out whether they're going to turn this into a tribute for Carlos or how they're going to do it. So you guys be safe out there. Heart goes out to Carlos and his family. Thank you for tuning in. I got to unload this razor.